From Mamma Mia, welcome to The Spill, your daily pop culture fix. I'm Laura Brodnick.
And I'm Em Vernon.
And welcome to Weekend Watch.
Weekend Watch time. Woo!
We're going to do like a little jingle or
I
something.
usually do a jingle. Wasn't doing it today.
Oh, okay. Well, strap in for a fun episode with those vibes already high. So Weekend Watch is one of our favourite episodes of the week where we talk about the best new TV shows and movies that have come out this week because we get to watch everything before it goes out to the wilder world, the riffraff of the world, if you will, except not your recommendation this week. Because, I mean, at this stage, the rules are thrown out the window. So we do have two very big, exciting new releases to talk about later in the episode. But first, you had something you wanted to bring to the table.
Yes, I've got a show that I've just started watching. It's not a new show, but the second season has just come out and it's currently out now. It drops every Wednesday, which is why you might have missed it if you've been watching The Summer I Turned Pretty, which also drops every Wednesday.
Yeah, and The Summer I Turned Pretty has just engulfed the world at the moment. So when that finishes next week, you'll need something else to obsess over weekly.
Exactly. Also, the show I recommended a few weeks ago, Alien Earth, also drops every Wednesday.
Oh, there you go. Wednesdays are
My
huge
Wednesdays
day.
are packed for me.
Yeah, you'll have to take the day off.
I do. Maybe I should. Anyway, this show, you might have heard of it. It's on Apple TV. It's called Platonic, and it's Seth Rogen and Rose Byrne. Oh my God, it is the best show I've watched in a really, really long time. The chemistry between these two is so insane. You would know their chemistry if you've watched Neighbours or Bad Neighbours, as it's called in Australia, where they play a couple who have a young child and then Zac Efron has a frat house next door and they're just like in this big war with each other.
That is one of Zac Efron's best roles as
Best
a side
roles.
note.
And Dave Franco, I reckon.
Yeah.
Like great, great roles.
10 out of 10.
Anyway, in this series called Platonic, they play two best friends. Seth Rogen plays this guy who's just gone through a divorce and his best friend Rose has like this husband and family and they hadn't talked in a really long time and then they come back together and the series just goes through their friendship and they play these roles so well. Like I haven't watched a relationship like this in a really, really long time where you are rooting for them to get together or you're rooting for them to be a friends to lovers. Like you're actually not. You love them being best friends and their chemistry is so good and they love each other so much, but not in like a sexy way.
Yeah. And I love that. There's so many TV shows where my favorite relationships are the best friend dynamic.
Yeah. And
like an unexpected best friend dynamic too.
They're very unexpected best
that.
friends. And it's also because like he's a straight man and she's a straight woman. And they just, I don't know how they're obviously brilliant actors, but they're able to get that chemistry of platonic friends done so well where you want to just see them be best friends and you never want to see them break up in a friendship way.
Yeah.
But you're also not rooting for them to get together.
But I think that's their dynamic in real life. Like
That's
you
what
watch
I think.
them,
I think that's exactly what they're like in real life together, especially after seeing them play a romantic couple in a movie. I thought it would be a huge challenge for them to do like kind of the opposite.
Yeah.
But they nailed it.
And when you watch them in interviews, especially for this new season of Platonic, like Seth and Rose, they talk about the fact that their chemistry was just off the charts, but not attracted to each other, which they're just like, this is a gold mine. Because that's the perfect setup, really. Because if you date, and especially because they're both married to other people and like Rose has got kids and all this sort of stuff. So there's no messiness. They're just great together on screen. Kind of like an old school, like an Adam Sandler and Drew Barrymore.
Yes, that's exactly like
their chemistry on screen is off the charts, but behind the scenes, they're just best friends.
That's exactly what it reminds me of. It reminds me exactly of that and kind of similar to George Clooney and Julia Roberts.
Yeah.
Like such good friends, but such good chemistry.
Platonic Hollywood besties. An untapped area that we need to delve
Maybe
into
another
more.
roundup is coming up our sleeve.
Our best love stories were the people off screen and online love.
Anyway, Platonic, it's out on Apple TV. Season 2 is currently running through. It is so good.
Okay, so a few weeks ago, I saw what I think is the best movie of 2025.
Oh.
And it's definitely up in the mix of the best new movies of 2025.
Okay.
It's called Splitsville.
I've heard of this.
Yes. Well, is it from me and yelling about in the office for the last few weeks?
I think I've heard of it from you and now it's like all over my TikTok
Yeah,
feed.
a whole bunch of people from the Mamma Mia office went to an early screening and we all loved it. So it's this new, they're calling it an unromantic comedy. And it's written by Michael Angelo Covino and Kyle Marvin, who did this movie The Climb a few years ago. And it's only their second movie and they co-wrote it. And Michael Unmissable directed it, but it's also produced by Dakota Johnson, who stars in the movie.
Oh my God, she's everywhere right now.
Yeah, she's doing the work.
Yeah.
Her company Tea Time produced it, and also stars another of our fave actresses, Adria Arjona, from Blink Twice.
Oh my God,
and she's been in other stuff, but I think
she's
that's
in the Hitman
role.
with our friend Glenn Powell.
she and Glenn Powell, really good friends, who's also a producer. So it's about these two couples who are seemingly in these very idyllic marriages. So you've got Kyle Marvin, who's playing Carrie, and then Adria Arjona, who's playing Ashley.
Mm-hmm.
And they have the opening scene of this movie is wild. Actually, so much of it is wild because it has these big comedy swings of like sex in a car and then maybe someone dies, and like there's two scenes about the deaths of goldfish, which are the funniest things I've ever seen. It's also a comedy that has the best fight scene of 2025.
Oh wow.
The most low stakes but like the longest and the best. It's like a 10-minute physical fight scene in the middle. But it's just but it's also like not a full choreographed fight scene. It reminds me of the end of Bridget Jones when when Daniel and Mark Darcy and they can't land a hit. It's like that. So
that's the best fight scene, I swear.
So Ashley says to Carrie that she has not only cheated on him, but has also is also wanting to end their marriage because she thinks there's more out there. And Carrie gets obviously very upset, and so he goes to his best friend Paul's house, whose wife is Dakota Johnson's character Julie, and they kind of say like after a few wines that the secret to their happy relationship is that they have an open marriage. And it kind of escalates from there of like different people in the couple hooking up, breaking up. It explores this idea of like open marriages and like friendship and relationships. So there's this really kind of really like beautiful, small, dramatic moments, and there's some very serious moments in it, coupled with these huge moments of like broad, crazy comedy. And people in our audience were like screaming, laughing, and then people would go silent. Like I would love for you to see it because you would just have the wildest reaction.
I feel like I should watch it and also film my
reaction. You should film your reaction. And it's mostly just the core four, but there's a few other different players in there, especially when Ashley starts having like open relationships and all the guys and women that she dates become like part of the show. But also Nicholas Braun from Succession is in it.
I love
him. And Dakota Johnson are really good friends because they were in How to Be Single together.
Oh my God, I love that movie.
Yeah. And they've stayed really good friends and she loves him. So he's got a small role, but he plays a mentalist.
No.
It's so funny.
He's so funny.
So it's such a good movie. It's so well done. It premiered at the Cannes Film Festival and just had this crazy standing ovation. People loved it. So I saw it and then I was so excited because I got to interview Dakota Johnson about it. And that is the very fun part of this job, is that it's not about talking to famous people because a lot of the time they're boring. It's about watching a movie that you love and then being like, I have so many questions and now I get to ask the person who is in the movie. The interview was an interesting one.
Oh no.
Because it wasn't one of those, like the last few big interviews we've had here on the Spill, like the cast of Fantastic Four or the cast of Freaky Friday 2. Yeah. Like they come to Australia and you go to a fancy hotel room and all the cameras are set up.
And you're in person and you can build that chemistry.
And you can build it. Yeah. This was about 6 a.m. on a Saturday morning. I had to do it from my apartment, do the interview. So I stumbled out of bed at like 5 o'clock. I had set up a studio in my apartment. I bought like Kmart lamps that I tied on ropes because I couldn't find a ring light. I had just slapped some makeup on. I put a blazer on over my pajamas because you only see the top part.
Yeah.
And then had some tech issues. But then Dakota came on the screen. And here's the thing I think is always a good warning about meeting celebrities when they have a very kind of big personal profile, is that if you had only watched like Dakota Johnson's like late night TV show moments or some of her viral videos, you might think she's this like kind of zany. Like how would you say if someone asked you to describe Dakota Johnson? What comes to mind?
Like very like quiet, chill.
Oh, really? Okay, that's the opposite of what most people were saying.
Only because I think she conveys that when she did her Architectural Digest video.
Oh, okay. When she goes crazy about the limes and stuff. See, the opposite.
Like overly sarcastic.
Yeah, but sarcastic, but also like kind of silly and like very quick-witted and stuff, which she is. But when I told people I was interviewing Dakota Johnson, so many people, because they've watched all these like crazy late night moments with her and all these viral videos where she's so funny, so many people like, oh my God, God, she's going to be like so chatty and she's going to be really crazy and she's going to do all these like bits for you and stuff. And I'm so glad that I kind of like never go into these interviews now with a preconceived notion of who a celebrity is and try and be best friends with them straight away because you've seen them online, because that always falls flat. But I'd also watched a lot of like smaller film junkets with her and she's so quiet. Like you've the idea.
That's what I've seen.
She's so reserved. She really, and this is something I really envy in people, she's not afraid of silence, because I like jump in to fill a silence and I prattle like I'm doing now.
And she usually, if she's like with a co-star, she'll let them do all the heavy lifting.
Yeah, and that thing was meant to be her and like Adria together, and I'm like, that would have been like really.
Adria would have been like bubbly.
Yeah, and then it was just Dakota and I, which was also great. But yeah, she came on the screen looking just serene and beautiful with like her perfect hair and her perfect fringe. And I said,
you guys have the same fringe as well.
I know. I wanted to ask her about that. I was like, you're spreading fringe propaganda. Yeah. But it wasn't the mood of the interview to bring that out. You got to test the room. Wasn't the mood. And so I was like, oh, man, I love this movie. I think it's my favorite movie of 2025, which is so true. And then she just gave me this sweet, like serene smile. And then I'm like, maybe she thinks I'm lying. So then I went again. And this is where you just need to sit in the silence. Like that's what I could learn from Dakota Johnson, because I went again then to kind of amp it up. And I said, and it's my job to watch every single movie that comes out. So I really mean that when I say it's my favorite movie. And this silence. And I was like, oh no, the camera's frozen. It hadn't frozen.
Oh no.
No, but she was
Why
nice.
was she talking?
No, then she just gave this little laugh and smile. But like, that's what I mean. She is not someone who would just jump in and be like, she's like, oh no, like you're here to ask me questions, and I'll sit here in silence until you do. And that's fine. Whereas like, that is my worst. I fear silence like people fear darkness.
I don't even think it's about filling silence. I think just like any acknowledgement, like, thanks.
No, but it's also so weird through those screens. So no, she was great. She's someone I would love to sit down and talk to for like 6 hours.
Yeah, if she talks.
And she talks for one of those
someone
hours.
I like to talk to.
I just also feel that she's someone who's always had her voice heard. Like she had the air of like, one of the reasons I talk so fast is like, no one's listening to me. I've got to get this in quickly. And you know maybe that's like growing up with like all heaps of siblings. But the vibe I get from Dakota Johnson is she's used to walking into a room and people listen to her.
Yeah.
And like the room goes quiet and they'll just wait for her to speak.
Yeah. Well, she's been famous her whole life, essentially.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, and she would have learned that from her very famous parents.
Yeah, exactly. Melanie Griffiths and Don Johnson, and her grandmother, Tippi Hedren, who's like an icon, and also Antonio Banderas was her stepfather for most of her life. So fair. So yeah, it was only a quick interview, but it was interesting because we talked about like the fact that she was a producer on the film and also being the lead actress. And she said that because I said like, you must get hundreds and hundreds of scripts across your desk for your production company every day, and how do you pick which one, and then how do you pick which character you want to play, because you know you can only really commit to a few roles a year. And she just said that Julie like seems like she has it all together, but she's very broken kind of behind the scenes, and there's a lot going on with her, and that is something that she has seen in a lot of women in her own life, which I thought was really interesting. And then I asked her, because I've heard her sort of mention this before, and I think it's something to ask all filmmakers at the moment, is, as we've talked on the pod before, we're so in this moment of like reboots and sequels and prequels and all those things. And we can go to like 5 movie premieres in a row this year, and they're all either a continuation or a remake. And it's so hard to find like truly original stories that hit. And that's what Splitsville is. So I asked her about that, and like if that was important to her when she's picking which movie she's going to make.
I think that people crave it, whether they're conscious of it or not. I think people are inundated with the same things over and over again. And I think you don't realize that you wanted something new and fresh and different until you see it.
I love that answer. That's actually exactly how I felt when I watched Sinners, which is like my favorite movie of the year.
Oh,
because
I mean, that's up there too.
So bloody original. Like nothing compares to it. And it's true. Like you don't think you need it. Like we talk about how big of a superhero like franchise fans we are, and how big of like we love Freakier Friday and like remakes and reboots. And that they get to a point where you actually forget that you crave originality until you actually see it.
Exactly. And that's something we talk about too is that, look, we know movie tickets are so expensive and people are so busy. So it's often a big swing to go and see a movie in a cinema, even though I think like Splitsville is a movie you should go and see in a cinema so you can hear the audience reaction around you. But I think people think it's a safer bet to go and see like a remake or a prequel or part of a franchise or something because there's like a safety net and you like don't want to take a chance on a story and characters you don't know. But we should be doing that. And then the other thing I asked her as the interview was coming to a close was about if she reads the reviews the week her movies come out.
Ooh, good question.
Which, and I hope, me thinking this right now, I hope she doesn't think I was alluding to like the terrible reviews for Madam Web or like the split reviews for Materialists. Because as you know, I actually love both those movies. I think I'm the only one who loved Madam Web. I thought it was great.
You couldn't even tell her because she just like be silent.
I tell her I love Madam Web and she's like, now you're lying. I'm like, no,
I know you're lying.
But I'm always really interested because I feel like there are some actors who just completely distance themselves from the noise and conversation. But I also think there's a lot of actors who say they do, but go, and how could you not? For something you spent months and months of your life, and if you're a producer, years of your life, how could you not go and read every single review? And how do you deal with that if the conversation is going a particular direction? So I asked her that, and it's the first time, like, she was, as I said, she was engaged and interesting the whole interview, but this, she kind of like something lit up in her eyes. And I was like, I can't believe this interview's over.
And now you're on my side.
Like, this is a moment where she's like, yeah, like I want to answer this question.
It depends on, I don't get attached to anything, but it depends on if I've produced the movie or not, because I'm so curious. This is also such a polarizing subject that I'm curious what people will say. I just like the conversations that it starts. And I don't have I don't really care if people like it or don't like it.
Ooh.
And then we kind of finished and I was like, well, I really liked it. And again, you don't believe me, but I do.
No, I like that answer, especially because like it's not even about being in it. I feel like with actors, a lot of the reviews end up being like the way they look or the way they sound. I mean, we also get it for podcast reviews, like the way that we sound. I'm like, I actually can't help that.
Yeah.
So it must be nice to actually see a review where it's just about the craft or the art if you're on that producer level. So I feel like you can separate yourself from it a bit more, which I feel like would be quite a nice experience.
Yeah, and I also thought it was so interesting that she was like, I don't care if you don't like it.
Yeah.
Which for most people I'd be like, of course you care.
Yeah,
but I just
care
don't
a
know
lot.
if she does. I care so much if people like what I do. But maybe she doesn't. I don't know. It was, anyway, overall it was an interesting experience. And then it was about 6:30 when the interview finished. I went back to bed and woke up hours later and I was like, did I dream?
You're like, was that a fever dream where Dakota Johnson hated me?
I was like, did I dream interviewing Dakota Johnson? But then I saw the video and I was like, no, I did. I did
it and I recorded it.
And I recorded it. And we'll put the videos on the spill so you can see whose fringe looked better.
Yes.
But yeah, I can't. She was great. She's so interesting. And also Splitsville. I can't recommend it enough. Such a good movie. We had about like 4 people from the Mummy office. We went to a packed cinema to watch it. The laughter and stuff. It's so, you know, like everyone in the cinema's laughing together.
Yeah.
There's nothing like it.
Oh, I can't wait.
Yeah, I really want you to go see it. So Splitsville, it's in cinemas now. So we have one more recommendation before we finish this episode. And we have a special guest coming on to recommend it. Just as special as Dakota Johnson, our other guest. Because Emily, there is a premiere that you and I really wanted to go to this week, but we had
so bummed
we
out
had
I
a work
couldn't go.
commitment. We couldn't get out of it. But our wonderful producer, Manisha, went to the premiere and she's here to tell us about this show.
I went to the premiere. It was a great premiere because you could tell all the cast, obviously it's such a Australian cast, had so much of their family and friends and community all there. And so they were whooping during the show. It was great vibes. Sorry you guys missed it.
Oh my God, we're so sad.
Sorry you weren't there.
Sorry you weren't there. It was great.
What's the series called, pal?
Top End Bub. I was like, the anticipation. I only watched Top End Wedding recently, sort of in preparation to see this so that I would know
How
what's going on.
good is that movie?
How
So
freaking
good.
good
It's
is that
so
movie? It's
bloody funny.
one of my faves.
God.
It feels like a warm hug.
Yeah.
Watching it. And it's just like that romantic
It's very
comedy.
wholesome.
It made me want to go to the NT.
Yeah.
Yeah, I loved it.
So
And
what's the series about?
So this series is a continuation. So obviously at the end of that one, we see Lauren and Ned get married. So when I heard Top End Bub, I was like, oh, they're just going to like have a baby. But it's more than that. So basically we leave off, they're in their life in Adelaide. And then this is an 8-part TV series following on from where we left off. And so we got to watch the first 3 episodes. And essentially, I don't want to give too much away, but something happens in the family and they take custody of her niece, of Lauren's niece.
Okay.
So they have to upend their lives in Adelaide and move back to the NT. And basically they're surrounded by her family and her community.
Is it the same cast?
It is.
Oh,
yes.
how good.
So Top End Wedding, that came out in 2019 and it was a romantic comedy where essentially a couple is going to get married and there's all these things that happen in the midst. Lauren, who's the main woman, who's played by Miranda Tapsell, who also writes and creates this show.
She's brilliant.
She's brilliant. Her mum goes missing and they're on this whole journey to find her, and it throws a lot of chaos into their relationship. But they do end up getting married.
Yes.
And so this is a continuation to that, in which they basically inherit a child from someone in the family, and they are now custodians, and they have to move back to the NT to look after Lauren's niece. And so, as you can imagine, a lot of strain for the couple moving back in, surrounded by your in-laws and all the mayhem that comes with that. But it's very feel good. There's heavy themes, but it's so much fun, just like the movie was.
Oh, I'm so excited to watch
I'm so excited to watch it. Top End Wedding, I have such a vivid memory of that movie came out because it was the new rom-com everyone was talking about. There's no other Australian rom-com like it as well. And I remember going to interview Miranda and Gwillem, who played the stars in the movie, and just like their chemistry and what they had gone through, like filming it and making it. But I only just rewatched that movie at the top of this year, and it holds up so well as like the ultimate kind of comfort rom-com. And was so funny.
I remember it was also like released around, I want to say like end of year, because I remember watching it during Christmas time with my mum and sister. Like
I've shown my mum this movie too. It's a good movie to watch with a mum.
It's such a good.
Oh, yeah, we watched it with our mums.
It's such a good family movie.
Yeah.
It's so well done. And the series, where can we watch the series?
On Prime. So it's out today. You can watch all 8 episodes, and highly recommend. Very
I'm going to binge all
family-friendly.
8 in one go.
Prime Video, 8 episodes. Oh, I can't wait. I'm just dying for another comfort TV show, especially to watch on a Saturday morning with my coffee. That's
oh my
what
God,
I'm
I'm
looking
so
for.
excited.
Hello. The Spill is moving to its own YouTube channel, and we're taking all of the celebrity drama and pop culture deep dives with us. So click here to subscribe so you don't miss our daily entertainment news updates.